Alrighty, good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 26th year, bringing you great information about mortgages and real estate. We got a jam-packed studio. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glantz.
Good morning, everybody. And we are back, and we're back in black. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. That gets everybody revved up in the morning. Got a great crew here. Got a full studio. Becky Alley's in the house, and we're going to go over one of the quotes that's jacked me up all morning. I'm so aggravated. But before we do that, Harvey, we got to introduce our guest and Becky Alley.
I'll go around the room real quick. We brought in, of course, the folks from Berkshire Hathaway Kee Realty. They opened up a new office on Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills in the last year. Stop by there, guys. It's a really cool office. You guys are recruiting and definitely looking for some great real estate agents. Evan Partridge, good morning, sir. Welcome again.
Good morning, guys.
You've been in
Thanks for having
before.
us.
We're definitely talking buying and selling. Mark Warren, of course, since 1977. If he hasn't offended you, he might today.
Good
morning, Mark.
Good morning.
All right, great to see you.
Did Mark offend somebody
No,
over the last
never,
49
never,
years?
never.
Why do you say that?
No, I'm just picking on him. He's my guy.
He's your
No, he's my
cousin.
cousin's cousin.
Well, okay,
he's
well,
not
that's
my
kind
cousin.
of a relation.
Don't-
You go around telling everybody you're related to every Warren in the United States.
Brad Resnick over here, former comedian, full-time real estate agent now, and having fun selling and helping families.
Thank you for having me back. I really enjoy it.
Right in the mic there if you want. I thought you were a comedian. Ethan Hanna. Ethan, welcome to the show. First year in real estate, lots of energy. You're looking out to help a lot of families and help a lot of first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
Also, you own a company.
Yeah, I own an estate sales and cleanouts company. We're Authentic Estate Sales and Cleanouts. We've been in the business about 3 years.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing. And, of course, Becky Alley and Harry Glantz. And we're going to share 1 hour of all sorts of mortgage and real estate stuff. Harry's got a ton written. We take your calls also, 248-539-9797. Harry.
You know, I love this market, Harvey, and I think, and Mark's here to tell you about the last 49 years in real estate. He's the man. He's very, very experienced. He sold every house probably 5-6 times over. And we've run across each other many, many times. But the market right now, and I always ask people when they come on the show, what's your view? What's going on in real time in the market? And from our perspective, and with Harvey, Becky, and I, with boots on the ground with our whole staff, our whole team, we're seeing it's really busy, Mark and Evan. It's really busy out there. There's a lot of activity out there. And anybody who thinks that there's going to be a housing crash, that's why I'm so aggravated. There's no housing crash. All right, there's no could prices level out? They could, but I'm predicting they won't as much as everybody says. And then I heard a quote about interest rates today, Harvey, because I'm so aggravated.
Okay.
We've been saying on this show for a very, very long time, you've got to understand the market. You've got to understand the landscape. And we always say, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting to buy? Why are you waiting to pay off that credit card debt? Because you think rates are going to come down? Well, I'm going to tell you what's not going to come down. 18 to 22% credit card interest rates. What also isn't going to come down is the quote of the day. Some guy, some real estate mortgage expert goes on and says, rates are not going to go down to 2%. Anytime
Brilliant.
soon.
That guy's brilliant.
I swear, it's written right here. Anybody who's watching, anybody can see it. Paul, Facebook Live, here it is. This guy says rates are not going to go down to 2%.
Was that you, sir?
No,
Were
it's
you
so
off
unbelievable.
record?
Really? No kidding. They went down the one time, hit the twos. For a moment in time, people who locked in back during COVID, which is the reason why there was so much free money and low interest rates. All right. This guy says, 6, 6.5, 6 3/4, not a bad rate.
I feel like that needs to be quoted by the Hardcore Mortgage Show because
Did
I
we
feel
not-
like we've been saying that for quite. I now share your frustration. I understand.
Don't you? When you read
understand.
things like this that you've been saying and you've been trying, and listen, I'm jacked up about it because we want to give people really good, solid, straight down the middle advice. And when you read these things and you see these things and you're on the inside of the industry, it frustrates you because when you've been telling people forever, you've got to do something, you've got to buy a house, Mark, when is the right time? When it's right for them, right? When it's right for that person.
Absolutely.
You sold houses at 18%.
I sold houses at all different interest rates. The rates right now are excellent rates. Everything's relative. So when people saw the rates at 3% and so forth, that was something that never happened in my lifetime, and I'm in my 70s. It probably didn't happen in my parents' lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about. I want to dive right in, and I went to a couple of your open houses also, guys. As we just go into buying and selling, I did a couple of your open houses, and again, there's inventory out there. A couple of the condominiums definitely are. They're sitting right now a little bit. You guys have had some offers on them. I was sort of shocked that a couple of them haven't sold yet, but everyone's got a little different perspective. There are some people looking to downsize. So we do see them maybe selling their home in Royal Oak or something like that. They raised the family, the kids are out of the house now. Let's dive into that. A couple of those condos that we've talked about, Evan, because I like the inventory and talking about
absolutely.
it.
We've got a couple great condos actually being held open this weekend. One today, Ethan's holding open at 33786 Vista. Remember Ray Lane? Since we're on the
Love Ray
radio.
Lane.
Like that
Yeah.
sports connection.
Yeah,
Old Ray Lane, the sports announcer here in
Lane's
Detroit.
place. It's beautiful. It's been completely redone. New bathrooms, flooring, everything.
What city's that in? Just so everybody
Farmington
knows.
Hills.
Farmington Hills,
So
good.
13 Mile in Farmington.
What's a condo like that sell for or listed at?
It's listed on the market for $398,888.
And it's been completely updated and redone. So that's something you guys got on the market now.
Yep.
The inventory is interesting. The traffic we had, I saw Brad, you and I were out at a condo last week, and that was a couple weeks ago, and that was interesting too.
Yeah,
Definitely
we
had some traffic.
We had an interesting time there. I will definitely say we had a couple of really interested parties who were coming in there. It is a great first level master condo, beautiful basement, 2 fireplaces in it. And it's a dream. And you and I had a pretty interesting experience.
We might get into that a little bit later. But
What I'm hearing though is that
Do you have to call the police? What happened there?
we had a situation with the guy who's selling. Again, this is just it. A lot of folks that have retired in these condominiums, now their next step might be to an assisted living type facility. And these are opportunities for families out there looking at getting a house. Now, that one's got a great layout. It's going to need maybe some updating, but price right, and then that's what I want to talk about pretty much all morning long is all the different properties.
We've been getting offers on that place, actually all these places. But the offers, going back to what pricing is doing right now, we're noticing offers aren't coming in as fast as furious as they have been. So I think it's a great time for people to buy because you can kind of finesse a deal. It's not just throw everything but the kitchen sink at the seller and pray that you win the property.
to go back to even what Harry was talking about in the beginning of the show, right? You're talking about the rates. The rates is a piece of the cake. It's not the whole entire cake. And then, right now with it being a seller's market technically, but buyers can really win. And when the rates are at right now, it's not challenging the affordability because even when the rates were in the 3s, what you're talking about, people they overbought. So even though it was more affordable, they could buy more house. They still were overbuying. So right now is that perfect opportunity where someone could come in and we can curtail that payment. They can win. They can actually get some concessions. Even though there's not a lot of inventory there, it's busy. People want to throw their hat in the ring with the real estate, and with it being like the frozen tundra that it's been in Michigan, for the last 30 some days, like if you're out here and you're looking, you're seeing offers, but some are sitting longer. You're going to have some that fly off the shelves, and you're going to see some that have been sitting for 30 days, but just because they've been sitting for 30 days, there isn't really anything wrong with the properties. It's just, they might need a little bit more work. It might be grandma's house or something of that nature, and it's not turnkey, but the ones that are turnkey, they are still going pretty quick, I'm assuming.
Right. And those types of places that might need a little bit of work, that's a great opportunity for a buyer as well. Make the property your own once you're in it.
Yeah,
I think that's exciting.
Like it's old school lending to me too right now because I would say like not half, maybe a quarter of my pipeline has concessions attached to those deals. And that's even with down payment assistance, which I know we'll go into down payment assistance a little bit later. But it's all about that affordability. And this isn't that market where you, like Harry was talking about, you hear 6.5, 7. Like this time last year, rates were in the 7s, right? So when we say, hey, rates have dropped, this is that perfect opportunity. We are being truth tellers in that regard. But the frustration that he's talking about is we have been preaching the fact that when the rates go into the high 5s, low 6s, that is going to open up the floodgates for the spring market because that is a strong interest rate where people can get in the house. It's affordable. And I will never understand it for as long as I live why someone will not even bat an eyelash at the credit card interest rate that they're paying, or they'll have their credit pulled 1,000 times for that 0% credit card or the car lease.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, I got to do a saw pull for your mortgage application, what? It might affect my credit. No, actually, all the credit cards that you have is affecting your credit, not this mortgage inquiry that's not even showing as an inquiry because it's a soft pull. So,
you know, Becky, they'll drive around for 4 hours looking to save 10 cents a gallon of gas.
Yes.
Okay, but they've got $50,000 in credit card that they're paying 20% on. And when we say we can help you out and consolidate, they don't want to give up their 5.5% interest rate for a 6.25% interest rate to save on the 18 to 22% credit card and save $2,000 a month.
Yes, it's definitely changing that perspective.
I will tell you that I bang out the emails, I make the phone calls, and I tell people, listen, just look at it on paper. Just do the math. We say that all the time. How does it affect you? Do the math. If we could save you money, if you could save money, it's only about the money you bring in and then the money you spend, right? The money you lay out. If we can help save you $500, $600, $2,000 a month, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, what are you waiting for? And then in the home buying market right now, I attribute it a lot. It's so active out there. It's more active at 13 degrees in the cold tundra right now than I've seen it in the last 2 or 3 winters, and they were good. So I can only equate it to we had a great December, a great January, and the activity. A great January in 13-degree weather. And that's everybody. You know, rising tide lifts all boats. So if you talk to a lot of lenders, they'll tell you, and a lot of realtors, they'll tell you their January was really, really busy, Harvey.
That's great. That's great news out there. And we're definitely talking with a lot of new buyers and getting them prepared and building that confidence level. So we're gonna touch on all these things this morning. Again, 248-539-9797. We talk about interest rates, so we'll continue that a little bit here because Jerome Powell, he might be getting pushed out. Could be a new Fed chairman coming. We'll see how that will react.
I think he is.
What Becky said
Kevin
is
Warsh,
true.
okay? Kevin Warsh.
If these rates do drop, look out, folks. There's going to be a lot of competition. So we're going to get you prepared for that. All right, 248-539-9797. We're up against our first break. We'll be right back. Alrighty, 8:15. If you're just joining us again, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We love your calls, 248-539-9797. Becky and I promise to get into down payment assistance, helping a lot of home buyers get into properties. Again, you can get all these programs if you haven't owned a house in 3 years. So lots of opportunity out there. Again, got the guys in from Berkshire Hathaway Kee Realty. Their newer office here in Farmington Hills off of Northwestern Highway. Evan Partridge, Mark Warren, Brad Resnick, Ethan Hanna, they're all here to share some good real estate information. We promise to touch on everything, debt consolidation. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Give us a call at the office. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, and powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, equal housing lender. You guys started talking in between the break, and I love the question here. You go ahead, and the question to Mark was...
Well, I asked Mark, I said, Mark, in the 49 years you've been in this industry, that's a long time, by the way, and I commend you on that. Anybody who's stuck it out
Snaps
that
for that.
long, that's really good.
A long time.
That's strong. It's like Gordie Howe playing in 5 different decades, all right? So,
Pretty cool.
And look that up. Anyways, I said to Mark, Mark, what have you seen? What has changed? What have been the most dramatic changes in real estate in 49 years, that length of period of time? And Mark, go ahead and repeat what you said to me.
Well, I said over the time, I've always had to reinvent myself. However, the fundamentals stay the same. There's probably more psychology in business than there is business in business, because when you're dealing with people, if you give them really, really good advice, they'll probably get defensive at first until you facilitate them giving themselves that advice, because no one likes to be told what to do. So what you have to do, my background, I have a psychology and philosophy degree from Michigan State. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I've been doing this for a long time, and it's been a real good business for me. So the basic thing is to talk to people. People like to buy, they don't like to be sold, and get them in a conversation where instead of telling them what to do, try to get them to give them the advice that you want to give them so that they don't get defensive.
That's such sage advice, and we love that. And when we talk about the fundamentals are the fundamentals, and Becky and Harvey, and we say it all the time, and we preach, help people, not sell people. All right? Help them, give them great advice, establish the relationship, because it all begins with that relationship.
Relationships over transactional works way better.
I love that.
Yeah, people over profit, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge part of our team. I mean, this is a relationship business. We're in it for the long haul. We want, people to be happy when it's all said and done, and honestly to give us referrals after that.
Well, the longer you
that's
go,
the lifeblood of this business.
I think, Evan, the longer you go, and the reason why we named this show the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show is because, we'll give you hardcore answers to hardcore questions. We're going to be honest with you. If we're not telling you what to do. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Trust me. Nobody in this room, Becky, Harry, and Harvey, do not like to be told what to do. So when we say to somebody, hey, listen, here's what we suggest for your situation, it might come off pretty rough. I mean, there were times on the radio and times in real life where we had to have conversations with people and say, hey, that's not the best thing for your situation. It might be the best thing for your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law. It's not right for you.
The same shoe does not fit everyone.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's great.
My thing is like my GPS is not going to get you where you're trying to go. And, it's okay to say no to somebody, but, the issue though is that sometimes people want to hear what they want to hear and instead of what they need to hear. And if I'm saying, okay, your max, pre-approval is 150,000, they're going to call enough people and someone might give them 160,000. Well, now but they're going to be overextended and you're going to find that person that's going to give them that false news. And then they're going to be in a situation where they're not going to qualify. But it's being able to have those hard conversations from a heartful, authentic place. So it's not offensive.
Yeah, it's kind of like parenting. When your kids come and ask you for your advice, better than telling them what to do, you want to ask them questions so that they can figure out what they should do, because no one really knows what someone else is thinking, and a lot of times you get in real big trouble by assuming that you know what someone else is thinking. So the best thing is to have the person ask themselves the questions so that they can come up with the decisions themselves, because in the final analysis, there's fewer answers than there are decisions.
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is like I described. They're like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, okay, well, I help buyers and real estate agents understand the financial process, give them confidence, the knowledge, so therefore they can change their own lives. I'm giving them the tools, but it's ultimately their decision. And it's by me, like, how did you arrive at that point? How did you arrive at that price point? It is breaking down where they arrived to that certain mindset. But at the end of the day, when we cross that finish line, they chose to buy a house. I help facilitate it, even though I help them see something that maybe didn't see for themselves and help them give a multi-layered understanding of the financial process. But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, sometimes people will ask a question and you're not sure why they're asking that question. You might think they're asking it for one reason, where they're asking it for a totally different reason. So sometimes the best thing is to delve into the question that someone's asking you and try to, examine where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
don't-
favorite thing is help me understand the person that's controlling the conversation ultimately is the one that's asking the questions. Anyway.
Well, don't prejudge, right?
Yeah.
Don't prejudge. Let
Can't
somebody,
be,
don't
can't be
prejudge.
assumptive.
Don't let your thought process interfere with what they're trying to get at, and just listen. And I find that when I ask questions and I listen to people and I watch them and how they explain their answer, it helps me really get to the bottom of where they're at. And given the hardcore advice, Evan, when you walk into that house and you're listing that house, and it's, in your opinion, just god awful because you know what's going to sell on that market, you've got to arrive pretty quickly at a place in your brain that you're going to explain to them, hey, listen, if we're going to sell this house for maximum dollar, here's what you need to do, right?
Right. I mean, you don't want to walk in there and offend anybody. But, I mean, your job,
True.
you're the expert, right?
You're
So
like,
we've
I want you to know everything is bad in here.
right? So we've got to walk in
House is
and
never going to sell.
give them constructive criticism. A lot of it is common sense. Decluttering a home doesn't cost you anything, but it makes a huge difference in the way the home's going to present itself. So every home's got, different things that could be done to it to make it either more saleable. Every seller's got more resources or doesn't have the resources to do all these things. So you got to come up with the best game plan to get them the most money in the time frame that makes sense for them.
And to help them get out of their own way.
Right.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way.
I mean, buyer sabotage is a thing. It's real. It exists. They don't mean to do it, but
Help
they
me
do
help
do it.
you.
Yes, it's almost like like I just actually had a first-time buyer, and we're going through the process. You tell them, don't change jobs, don't do this, don't do that, don't open up new debt. They change jobs in the middle of the transaction, and it's like I understand the thought process of I'm just going through life. I'm living my life and I'm going to buy this house too at the same time. But there has to be a cadence, and we're saying don't do things. And sometimes it's like it's happening and then they don't know what to do with it. So they're like, I'm going to just throw it down on the ground and then, make it more difficult than it has to be. And you have to constantly just poke through their head, pull them back forward. And so it's got to be their idea, but don't make it harder than it has to be.
Right. Sometimes it's harder to know yourself than it is to know someone else.
Yes. Look at you. He's just like, if you're watching us on Facebook,
Yeah.
Mark is just like leaning back and then coming forward, dropping some like wisdom,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
like
Well,
chills back.
Using the college degree he got at Michigan State finally
No,
from
I love
selling
that.
real
This
estate.
is the philosophical aspect of
Yes.
what he does, and he's sitting
I love
back
it, though,
and-
'cause
and he
I'm on-
picks and
I'm on that
chooses.
wavelength.
Boom, yeah,
Yeah.
I love that
I'm
so
known
much.
for my one-liners as well. Everyone knows that.
All right, Becky, we threw out the seller's concessions. I think this tool, seller's concessions, and again, if you don't understand it, if you're new to the industry, if you're a buyer or seller, you better figure it out real quick. It's like the key because these homes are older. Let's go there, guys. I've been in a lot of open houses, not just yours, but many open houses. And I'm shaking my head a lot of times going, wow, it really needs to be dressed up a little bit, decluttered. It needs to pull out grandma's beige carpet. You got to get rid of the beige. And maybe we put in the new laminates that are out there that are really aesthetically pleasing. $10,000 is a huge number. It really is, because you can completely paint a house and almost floor a house for that. Ev, I think that's the key. Like I said to you, why didn't you guys sell that condo? And you say, well, they offered X. We're more looking. You guys were out 10, 15,000 away on this one particular. We won't say the address, of course.
I'm going to switch to a different condo. Actually, we've got coming up. It's a nice first floor master in Ramblewood in Farmington Hills.
Oh, that's
Nice area.
We're going through the same thing right now. Woman moved out. We walked in and it needed some freshening up. So they just completed painting the whole place. They're putting in carpet. It's going to look fantastic.
They didn't want to do either one of those things at first.
Yeah. and I mean, we've even got contractors and a stable of people that we walk into the door with, so to speak, where some people may even be able to be paid once the house sells.
Okay. You got a crew. Well, you guys got crews and stuff.
Yeah, we've got options for people. And sometimes they'll think that this isn't a possibility for me to freshen this place up. But if they can, it makes sense. And it's our job to tell them kind of, what to do. Sometimes you can go overboard and not be able to finish that process because you can just keep spending and spending and spending.
Yeah.
But
people get emotional about their house, right? Like, how dare you say my beige carpet is not good anymore? But it is, again, having those hard conversations and just saying, do you want top dollar? And it's also, they think that they're going to be the ones that's dictating the price. But there's a reason why you're hiring the professional.
Yeah, 'cause there's one thing I wanted to say. You were talking about buyer sabotage.
Yeah.
There's seller sabotage too.
For sure.
Especially in a market that's changing like this, where, or could be changing, put it that way. That the condo down the street last year, 2 years ago, sold for this. I can get this for my condo. Well, now let's look at the most recent comps and really price this intelligently. Mm-hmm.
Well, showing up prepared, right? You're showing up prepared. You're showing up with what the sales are. And then when you're talking about whatever the purchase price that they think you're going to put on the market, if you price it right, you're going to get multiple offers.
Definitely. Pricing it right is one of the, having a good realtor who's going to do a proper CMA for you and actually be able to.
So what is a CMA?
So it's a consumer market analysis. It's essentially what we do is we compare homes that have sold in your area that are similar in style, shape, or, community area for that matter. And then we can get you an adequate price on, what the best way to list it is, what the best price is. And then we also use our own things by looking, all right, what kind of things need to be going on inside. A $30 can of paint can give you an extra $2,000 in equity, by painting painting some rooms.
That is true.
And some people don't want to do that, and they sabotage themselves by just not doing a couple small little minor updates. Oh, I don't want to go through with that, or somebody else is going to come in and change it. You're not the one living there anymore.
You do not have to get a new kitchen. Sometimes just paint will get the job done.
All right, lots to share with you here. 828, if you're just tuning in, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We love your calls, 248-539-9797. Got tons to share with you. We're going to get into some debt consolidation, things you can do to keep the money in your pocket. Keep it here. We're back live in the studio, 831. Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, open lines, 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed. Only been doing mortgages for 35 years. Harry's been doing like for 40. Harry Glan's over here, Becky Alley forever. And these guys here, a long history here. Of course, Mark Warren, Evan Partridge with Warren Partridge team. And then you guys bring in Ethan Hannon, Brad Resnick. So thanks for joining us all, guys. Ethan, it's cool. You got a cool company. Congratulations. Continued success again. Getting rid of stuff. Estate sales are really cool. It's you do a lot of clean outs.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you got to declutter these homes. And if your folks are moving out and they're on the older side, you got to get in touch with one of these companies. Just give me an idea real quick to bring you into the show, Eth. What does it cost, like a typical 2,500 square foot home? What is it to like clean these things out?
I mean, it really all depends. It really all depends on, how much is actually in the house.
Okay.
I mean, once the family comes in, takes what they want, we really go in and set the whole stage for you, top to bottom. Some houses we've done in a week, some houses we've done in 2 months. So it really does all depend on what we've got in there.
I love that. I think, Ethan, that people are moving, and people don't understand what the undertaking is to move and get that stuff out of somebody's house.
Oh, it's insane.
And I would suggest that if anybody out there is listening and you're thinking of moving and you're thinking about doing it yourself, listen, one size doesn't fit all, like Mark said. But you have to go ahead and understand the scope of what it's like to move. If you've been in your house for a very long time and you just have a lot of stuff, you need some people in there to help you.
Of course.
And I encourage that. I think it's wonderful and I think it's great. And I can tell you, I've never moved without anybody helping me. That's
No,
for
of
sure.
course.
And I don't move a lot.
Well, and on top of it, we put a little bit of extra money in the seller's pocket. I mean, it helps with their costs. I mean, you make a little bit of money out of it.
And you need young legs to do it, and this guy's young. Let's go. Get your crew. Let's go.
Plus,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
wild
Oh,
how
yeah.
much you can acquire. And, like you don't realize it. And then like in 5 years, you're like, what in God's name? Why do I have this stuff? And so when you can help facilitate that, that's buying your time back too. It just
Absolutely.
makes it a lot easier just to kind of
Absolutely.
navigate that and get through it and whatever, man.
Why do I have boxes of my kid's 7-year-old Little League uniform still in my basement? I don't know.
My mom has that stuff, yeah.
Right, because I can't get rid of it.
Yeah,
That's
you
why.
can't, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you'll
There's
still
no
have them
way.
for a little bit.
You got
We're
to give
saving
it to
it for the
them.
babies.
All right, Becky, let's do some home buying. First-time home buyers out there might need some additional funds. Let's just do some conversation about down payment assistance. You roll.
Okay, so that's life-changing money for a first-time buyer. And if it's in a targeted area, if you're doing the MISDA program, you don't have to be a first-time buyer. So a first-time buyer is defined by someone that has ownership interest. So interest means that I'm not on the mortgage, but I could be on title, right? So that's interest, right? So mortgage interest in the last 3 years. In that regard, you can get up to $10,000 through the state of Michigan, which again is life-changing money. I just had a first-time buyer get this money. She was in tears at the closing table because she never thought she would have that opportunity to buy, and we were able to get her in for true 1% down. So the purchase price, let's just say, was $100,000. It cost her $1,000 to buy a house, and actually, she at the time of closing, she brought $0 to the table. So if you have the conversation soon and often and early, we're able to navigate those conversations. We're able to set up where I can have a deep dive conversation between me, the buyer, and the real estate agent, and say, hey, this is a first-time buyer. She's starting over. She's doing the things. She just got out of a bad situation. I need you to find this particular house with these concessions. And when I can be that detailed with my referral partners, and you guys are so good, we can go out there and find those properties. And then in turn, we have this moment in time where we're a part of it. It's so beautiful.
Chinoa funds,
Yep.
Mishta funds, National Faith funds.
Yeah, so
These are
National
all
Faith.
for-
Okay, so a couple of things. So Chinoa, there really isn't. Let me just amplify this. There isn't a down payment assistance program out there nationally that we don't have access to, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. Some of these programs, you do not have to be a first-time buyer. Some of these programs, you can make $1 million and you could get up to 5% of whatever the purchase price is. So if you're buying a $200,000 house and you're not a first-time buyer, I can possibly give you $10,000 if you qualify for these mortgages. It's all about, again, setting yourself up for success to do these things. And National Faith, for example, that is specific to Wayne County. That is going to be, for example, in Southgate. You can get up to just under $14,000. Again, this is life-changing money for individuals.
So everybody out there, you have to understand that Becky is one of the top, if not the top, down payment assistance mortgage originators in the state. And I'm proud to say that. Every single year, Becky finds a way to get people that need the money for down payment assistance on the house. Because you know the rule, Mark. Hey, I can make the payment. I just don't have the money to come up with the
Yeah,
house. I've been
yes.
paying rent forever. I just don't have the down payment. Well, there's no excuse anymore. Back in the day, we didn't have this, okay? Becky's got this. We've got this. We've got the money to go ahead on all programs.
They're great
To go
programs.
ahead, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely great program.
And we didn't have that in the 80s and 90s.
No, there's more down payment assistance now in the history of ever. And the reason for that is because we did have a housing market crash, okay? And then we had all these investors come in, and then it kind of dictated everyone was now renting and the things. And the reality of it is they want people to occupy their homes in Michigan.
Promoting home
They want to
ownership.
be primary homes. They do not want the investors to take over like they have in other states, where then it becomes unaffordable. Michigan is one of the very few affordable states in the United States. I mean, not that there's not affordability, but we are of a good price points where you can still be a first-time buyer and maybe get an $80,000 house. There's not very many states that have that kind of that price point still available. And, you know, we can identify what is the vehicle that you need to get in to get you where you're going. And it's different for everybody.
Becky, I got a lot of clients. I'm going to let you jump in here. I got a lot of clients, 25 to 35 professionals. Now, they have money to work with.
For sure.
Again, some of these programs you have to pay back, but we do have programs where you don't even pay back the DPA, the down payment assistance. But if you want to get in and you have 20, it's usually 15 to 30,000, somewhere in there. You're looking at $300,000 homes. You can buy with 3% down. So this is just a standard transaction, a conventional or an FHA transaction with 3.5% down. Perhaps you served the country. Of course, you're a veteran. You can use your VA eligibility. And of course, that's a zero down program. You topple that with some seller's concessions, you can get into a house for very little out-of-pocket expenses. So, Becky, you know the rents are through the roof, and all these folks who bought up these homes, investors, some people dip in, they own one or two properties. They want top dollar. If you want to rent, you're looking at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for the two months up front, and then each month rent, and you're never going to build any equity.
So what he's talking about, there is no mandate on rent. I can do whatever I want. I can say your rent's $1,500 and send you a letter and give you a 60-day notice that your rent's going up to $2,500. There's nothing stopping me from doing that, truly. It's just, it is what it is. It's also more difficult to get into a rental these days than it is actually to even own your own home, because, again, they can look at their credit. There's different things that they're doing for their screening, and there's nothing stopping them. There's nothing that they have to follow, whereas on a lending side, we have these certain guidelines and this cadence that we have to march to make sure that we are giving everyone that equal opportunity. So, and we're on the flip side of it too. We're also helping people build their real estate portfolio. We're helping first-time buyers get into that first house, and then we're also helping that same first-time buyer that I talked to 5 years ago. They're now buying their fifth house with us. So it's all about that longevity of that relationship, because it's not transactional. We're not selling people, Mark. We're helping people, and it's identifying where you're going in 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years from now, and how can we be a part of that journey. And it's a beautiful thing as well with us being a national lender. We know what's going on in Florida. We know what's going on in Ohio. We know what's going on in California, because our now like internal family members, aka our clients, we're moving, we're go where they grow, and that's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, these are the conversations we have every day. Ethan and I just had this conversation. He went on an appointment with a new buyer, old friend of yours, right? He came in the office, and I said, "How'd it go?" He said, "Well, I'm not sure. They don't have a lot of money,
How come I didn't get the call, Ethan?
Yeah,
dude.
Oh, boy, Harvey's going off.
Dude.
Here we go.
You ever heard of a full Nelson slam?
But
Okay, go ahead.
I said, Ethan, this is all part of the real estate process. As a real estate agent, you're going to educate this person. They think they have no shot at buying a house anytime soon. With programs like this, the possibility's there, and they could probably do it within a year or so.
Correct.
It
doesn't even take a year, to be honest with you.
Exactly, depending on their situation and employment and all that. But I mean, you're going to sit down, you're going to counsel these people, you're going to help them get to somewhere they didn't think they can go, and they're going to be extremely happy at the end.
Yes, and it's being identify those nonverbal cues even that someone is saying, where you can hear that frustration and what Mark was saying, that psychology of you have to get them to say really what they're trying to get out, but then it's also redirecting them to a high-level loan officer to have a high-level conversation so that we can be like, oh, you didn't think you could buy? Well, guess what? You can buy in 40 days because we have the exact program that's going to suit that, what you're trying to do. And it's you have to You got to have the conversations as soon as possible. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just you can't. One of the biggest first-time buyer mistakes, in my opinion, is they don't even try. They think they need 20% down. They don't keep enough money in the bank. But
And
the
they
biggest
don't make
one
the
is
call.
they don't even try because they automatically disqualify themselves in their mind.
Yeah, that's crazy still that people still think
They
there's
do.
20% downs
crazy.
required.
Yeah.
We're already up against this break. Okay, I promise
Flying by.
when we come back, we're going to talk about some important stuff on the mortgage side. Hey, if you're refinancing your house, they send you discharge of mortgages here. You've heard of these.
I've heard of
You've
this,
got
Harvey.
to
They're
keep
zombie
your
mortgages.
closing packages.
Yeah, but what if I don't keep my closing package, Harvey?
Oh boy, Harry, you can get in some trouble. So we're
Yeah,
going to
we
go
can.
a little bit of maintenance on what you need to do. Also, debt consolidation, paying off those credit cards, paying off those Christmas bills that are still showing up. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show, 846 if you're joining us. Mark Ryan, and he's live at the LCA. Got Red Wing hockey today. Guys are getting down there. A lot of you folks want to get down there, have lunch, breakfast.
Mark, we miss you in the studio, buddy. Hope you're
It's
doing
okay.
well.
Mark's a real Detroiter now, and I don't want to hear him. He doesn't like the cold, but he's indoors.
I don't blame him.
He's definitely indoors now. All right, again, just to go over the studio here, we brought in Berkshire Hathaway Kee Realty on Northwestern Highway. Evan will promote the office a little bit. They're looking to fill up some seats seats in there with some hard-working people. Real estate is not the easiest thing to do, and we're going to talk about that still. But debt consolidation, let's just do our homework. You got to really do the numbers. So there's 3 reasons I wrote down why. Now you can get a lower interest rate on your mortgage. So that's reason number why to refinance the house or to see what those numbers look like. Becky, also, home values typically go up here in East Michigan. Anywhere, the hot cities are 10%. The other cities are 2 to 3 or 4%. You might go from 5% equity to a 10% equity position, lower the PMI, the private mortgage insurance. And then third, resetting the escrows. Yeah. You know, you button clickers out there that bought houses and weren't told, I'm still hearing this, you weren't told by your real estate agent, your friends, your family, anyone with a brain, your lender, hey, your house is going to get reassessed. And when that changes, I'm looking at a guy now, his payment is like $1,300 more than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Just by refinancing the house and taking advantage, it's a lot of cash flow. He can save a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I have a client right now that he's actually a client of mine, and his escrow, like what happened was the city lost the homestead document and his taxes flipped to non-homestead. So they really quadrupled, and then they sent him a check back, and then that check back, I wasn't involved at that time. It didn't go back into the escrow account. He put it into his account. So his payment's been crazy for like the last 12 months. So now I'm involved, and even shortening the term. So we did the mortgage a year and a half ago. Now putting him on a 20-year, we're going to reestablish the escrow account. We're going to fix it. I'm involved. I have control of the situation. Just even that, and shortening the term by 8 years, he's still saving $1,500 a month.
Yeah, these numbers are really
huge.
Yes.
We want to help everybody out there, and we're going to help all mortgage lenders out there with the following statement. If your clients are at 5.5, and you can do a cash-out refinance transaction for them to pay off the 18 to 22% debt, the 6.5 rate that you're going to give them for the cash out, that's better than them paying 5.5 on a mortgage and 20% on their credit cards. So we're going to tell you to call your clients and tell them that, because if they don't do that, it's financial suicide, because every single month they're paying more money. It's only about the cash outlay and not what the rate is on your mortgage, everybody. It's what you're paying on everything else.
Simple math.
So figure it out and do the math. Now, I will say, we all have clients we talk to every single day because we're on the street talking to clients. A nice lady called me up, known her for a long time. She said, Harry, what do I do? I said, well, what do you have? She says, I have 5.5 on my mortgage, and I want to take cash out because my son's going to college. I said, well, let's examine it. All right. I told her, it's better now for you in your situation not to refinance the lower rate that you have, because she has an extended situation where she has a very low mortgage rate, including her taxes and insurance, that it makes sense for her to do just a home equity loan. So listen, everybody's situation is different, but I'm telling you, it's about the money you take in and the money you're putting out. So if you're spending $2,000 a month paying minimum balances on credit cards, your mortgage interest rate is irrelevant.
Yes, I agree with you. You have to, but you got to be open-minded to that, right? Because we talked about in the beginning of the show, like, people want to clinch their pearls over, like, when you say 6.5 on the mortgage rate, but they're not even, because they don't see that the credit card interest rate in their face, right? It's like, but it's because they're also conditioned to ask, what's your rate? What's your rate? What's your rate? And the truth of the matter is, the rate is irrelevant when you can't afford the house payment anymore. You have to find, because you can't afford the house payment because you can't afford your other expenses that are going on right now. So you have to look at the big picture and not be afraid of that mortgage interest rate, because right now it's still tax deductible. That's something you got to talk to your CPA. It's tax time. So you have to do the things that are going to help you in the long run.
I like that it's tax time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, good reminder out there. What do you got?
Yeah,
I was just going to say, you got to surround yourself with people who know things that you don't know.
Yeah.
Whether it be an accountant who's giving you good advice, attorneys, real estate agents, mortgage lenders.
I mean, in my opinion, that is the definition of an educated person. I don't care how many degrees you have, right? I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And I know the people that know what I don't know, so I can walk to them and say, hey, I don't understand this part. I don't know how to build a car. My dad does. My brother does. I understand finances better than they do. So they come to me. You have to know, you got to know where to get the information.
Right. Same thing with sellers. We walk into the house. We like to try to be a one-stop shop for people, whether it has things to do with fixing up the home, if they're buying a new home afterwards, getting them pre-approved with somebody, contractors, estate sales, Ethan here. If we can try to make the process as easy as possible for them, that's really our goal.
Actually, sometimes we refer people to financial planners because the most important thing is you got to remember, if you're asking a financial planner about their retirement, the first thing they're going to ask you is, how much debt do you have? Because it's like a sport of any type. Defense wins.
Yeah. And Mark, it's funny you bring it up. There isn't a day that doesn't go by when I don't talk to realtors, attorneys, financial planners, investment advisors. Okay, I talk to people every day in those worlds because that's not my world. All right, so I have a team, a lot on my team that I go to every day because there are certain things I need to know what's going on that specific day in that specific area.
And trust in estates, Harry. This is something they didn't have in the 78. No one had wealth then. I mean, now you're talking about you're moving your folks out of the house. I mean, someone is deceased. These homes are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. We're dealing with a lot of money. You need to protect your assets. All right. So a little reminder out there. So a lot of things keep popping up during the wintertime, and one of them is saving your documents. So when you refinance your home, there's a lot of important stuff going on. The name of the lenders, the servicers change. They're allowed to sell loans on the free market. So it's something that if it goes from one servicer to the next, there's a document that comes with that. You have to save these documents. There's all sorts of reasons why. And of course, we always come across it. This week, we come across mortgage discharge that are not saved, or it says a discharge from one lender, but you established a loan with another lender. Folks, you got to keep your all of these important documents. Again, financial statements, your tax returns, they say for 7 years. Buy that safe. Put it away and keep everything located in one thing. Again, your summer, your winter tax bills. Becky, you're looking at me like, yeah.
Well, no, I was going to on the document part of it. So, for example, I just am doing a refinance for someone. They were recently divorced. Right before the divorce, they did a refinance. We now have the title. We're trying to complete this refinance, and it comes about that the mortgage that they took out in 2002 wasn't properly discharged. So now we had to go back, and luckily we keep high-level people around us, so we're able to go backwards and get it. And luckily, my client has been a client of mine for some time now. We were able to go back and get it. And I wasn't involved, obviously, in that 2002 transaction, but they were going through some certain things, and it came out in the wash, in the laundry, that there was this lingering thing, and it's called their zombie mortgages, right? Really, to be honest with you. So it's important that you have to keep good record keeping. If
this
you don't,
happens more than you know.
Correct.
This happens more than anybody knows,
Yes.
Harvey. I mean, it happens all
and
the
that's
time.
why even being in alignment with a really good title company, right? Title, it's kind of like a downplayed part of the mortgage transaction, but it's important to be in alignment with good people that can really do these deep dives and follow the money. Like there's mortgage companies that aren't even around anymore, but they held the paper at one point in time. You have to have all the stuff.
And communication, too.
Yes.
You have to have really good communication between your lender, your realtor, your title company. You mentioned something, earlier when you were talking about, tax assessments and stuff like that. You get all these people who are clicking on realtors online, and some of these realtors they meet, they don't even know their name. They just try to get them out and done is push the transaction as quick as possible. Where one of the things we pride ourselves on at our office is that personal touch, the communication between everybody, and making sure that we all work cohesively so that it can be as pain-free as possible.
Brett, I wrote a page on it. I'm not even going to go there because a gentleman called me who was a veteran who served, who's bought a place in the middle of the state, never went to the house. Now he's looking to sue people. Closed on a property he doesn't want. It's insane.
It's amazing.
It's insane in 2026 that I'm hearing this. Again, stop clicking buttons. That's a clown show. I bought a couple things. I buy T-shirts. I bought a pair of gym shoes.
Oh, here we go. We got to temper this down.
I'm going to tone it down. I got another minute.
Tone it down, please.
All right. Anyways, Ev, is it a great time to buy a house? Let's talk.
It's a great time to buy a house. There's properties out there. The rates are good historically. I think pricing is at a point or the market's at a point where you can be able to get a good buy right now. You can work a deal. It's it's a phenomenal time to buy.
Yeah, real
Right.
quick, and shout out to Robert Courtney. Had a soft opening at the social media store. I'm rocking his hat right now. We were out there last night. The official opening is going to be on 313 Day, March 13th. So keep it locked into the Hardcore Mortgage Show Facebook page for more information on that. It's in Detroit.
All righty, deal with all the professionals out there. It's been great having you guys on again. Welcome back again. Cold winter, mortgages, real estate, it's all heating up now because rates are down. There's opportunities out there. So again, keep it on 97.1 The Tick. We'll be back next Saturday with another version here of the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.